Welcome back to NewsWire here on SportsGrid. Great to have Jim Gazzale back in the house from Legal Sports Report. We'll have updates on Indiana, their sports betting landscape, and also hit on New Jersey as well. But first, we start off with horse racing as we bring Jim in, the very latest going on there. And boy, three letters that we haven't talked about in quite a bit here on the show, Jim, with sports betting, TVG. I mean, once upon a time, before sports betting was legalized, I mean, we could have done segments and talked all about TVG. So thanks for coming on the show. Let's get the very latest. What's going on with them in New Jersey? Looks like there's a little bit of a change in the landscape there.
Yeah, and I don't know if you recall, Craig, but this is our 1 year anniversary together on SportsGrid. And this week last year, I kicked off my initial segment talking about a New Jersey horse racing story. So I think it's only fitting that we kick it off with this TVG story coming out of New Jersey from late last week, early this week, where we found out that Nyra Bets, the online wagering app for the New York Racing Association, is going to be taking over the pari-mutuel betting systems in New Jersey, which paves the way for additional horse betting apps to enter that New Jersey market. TVG operating their app there, which is called 4NJ Bets. They've had a monopoly there for the better part of the last 10 or 15 years as the only option for New Jersey horse players. Now, this has kind of been talked about. There's been some rumblings about this change over the last 6 or 8 months, and the news finally broke within the last couple of days that Nyra Bets is going to take over that main license, and what they'll be able to do is essentially sub-license that ADW capability out to various other operators. So, of course, we'll see Nyra Bets get turned on in New Jersey. You'll have the likes of Twin Spires, another popular betting app, horse betting app, Express Bet as well. And then there's a ton, really countless ADWs out there that I'm sure will be itching to get into that New Jersey market. So a couple of regulatory, bureaucratic, red tape hurdles that still need to get settled in New Jersey before we'll see just how many of these horse betting apps will arrive in the state. The New Jersey Horse Racing Commission still needs to essentially rubber stamp this initial deal, which would have Nyra Bets take over, and then all of these other horse betting operators will approach Nyra Bets and work up some third-party deals and contracts to allow them to operate in the state. Just speaking to some insiders, if you will, sounds like perhaps maybe by the fall we'll start to see a handful of these ADWs be open and operational in New Jersey. So nothing on the immediate horizon, but within the next couple of months, that New Jersey horse betting market will no longer be a monopoly, and we'll see at least a handful of additional ADWs active in the Garden State.
Yeah, which is really a changing of the guard, as we would say. And look, I think that these horse, the betting operators just have to understand there's so much competition out there now. They're very fortunate, to be honest, that they still have that big footprint that everybody recognizes that they are like elite in the industry. Others are going to join in. It just was a matter of time. All right, finances are in from New Jersey, the latest in terms of the money with this latest quarter, Jim. Always appreciate you bringing that to the table. What can you tell us? How did New Jersey perform recently?
Yeah, so New Jersey sportsbooks saw year-over-year growth in handle in June, up 27%. Last month compared to June of 2023. Nearly $750 million in handle in June compared to about $590 in June of 23. And, it's interesting to kind of track this New Jersey market over the last year or so. We did see some declines there, a little bit of some sputtering in that New Jersey market when, of course, the New York online market opened up in January of 22. And, New Jersey kind of suffered a little bit from that. We recall all of those stories of New Yorkers driving across the George Washington Bridge, sitting on the other side in New Jersey territory, placing their bets on a Sunday morning, and then going back to their apartments in Manhattan or any of the five boroughs and watching their bets play out during NFL Sunday. So when that market opened up in New York, New Jersey did feel a little bit of a hit. Though what we've seen over the last 6, 8, even 10, 12 months is that New Jersey has really regained its footing since then. June and the month prior just came off of a streak of $6 or $7 billion months in handle in a row in New Jersey. And of course, a lot of that can be attributed to
Right.
in these last 2 months just the limited options on that sports betting calendar. But overall, I think just a pretty positive trend that New Jersey has seen in the last year since it's kind of regained its footing, like I said, from when New York opened up at the beginning of 22. Overall, FanDuel, DraftKings still tops in that market, but again, just a pretty positive trajectory that New Jersey's been on in the last handful of months.
Yeah, and that's really good news, especially in a time of the year where really sports is not all that prevalent with sports betting. That will change over the next couple of months. We know that. Okay, so Indiana, was on the flip side of this, Jim, when we talked last a couple of months ago about their finances and the hold and the revenue coming in. What is the latest in their financial update going on in that state?
Yeah, sort of a similar sort of trend like we just spoke about in New Jersey. Indiana certainly feeling the pinch a little bit last year in 2023 when you had Ohio launch in January of last year, and then we saw Kentucky come online. They launched their retail operation in early September, and then Kentucky sports betting apps came on at the end of September, and that really had a impact on Indiana. And they suffered through bits of declines throughout last year, but since the beginning of this year, a nice little trend for them, kind of returning to these 2022 figures in both handle and revenue each month. So we've hit 4 straight months now that Indiana handle and revenue has eclipsed those figures that we saw in 2022. And speaking with Eric Ramsey, who does a lot of our analysis work at Legal Sports Report, that's one thing he was telling me that he was really looking to see if this Indiana market could do. Could it at least approach and reach those 2022 levels again and even surpass that? And we've seen those figures that we've seen in the last couple of months here in 2024 really surpass those 2022 levels in Indiana, and which is a positive trend. I think a lot of these markets are starting to mature a little bit. Bettors are betting where they live because a lot of these states are now legal. So we're getting a pretty solid and good indication of just the strength of some of these markets, these more mature markets like Indiana is, and certainly a really positive trend to see Indiana reaching and even surpassing those 2022 figures in handle and revenue over the last couple of months, Craig.
All right. Well, I think naturally it's also a really good time to sort of reflect on everything that has happened in sports betting financially this year. There's no question, Jim, that some of these states that have struggled a little bit financially, to make the same revenue that they did a year ago are going to find themselves in a really good spot next month with college football back and the NFL back in September. Thanks again for coming on NewsWire. We'll see you next week.
All right. Thanks, Craig.